Naturally, my stories are about women. I'm a woman. I don't know what the term is for men who write mostly about men. I'm not always sure what is meant by feminist. In the beginning, I used to say, well, of course I'm a feminist, but if it means that I follow a kind of feminist theory, or know anything about it, then I'm not. In those early days, all that mattered was a happy ending. I do not tolerate unhappy endings, for my heroines. And then, I started reading stuff like Wuthering Heights, and a really, really unhappy ending would happen. So I changed my idea completely and got into the tragic story, which I enjoyed. Mothers and daughters generally have fairly complex relationships, and ours was made much more so by mother's illness. She had Parkinson's disease, which was not diagnosed for a long time. All that made me very self-protective, because for one thing, I didn't want to get trapped. For a long time, I had the idea that I would do a certain amount of work the best I could, and then I would reach a comfort zone, and I wouldn't be pushed to write more. I would become a different person. It's a surprise to me that this hasn't happened. Your body ages, but your mind is the same. William Maxwell's my favorite North American writer, I think. And an Irish writer who used to write for The New Yorker called Maeve Brennan, and Marian Levin, another Irish writer. There were a lot of writers that I found in The New Yorker in the 50s who wrote about the same type of material I did, about emotions and places. Some of the stories I admire seem to zero in on one particular time and place. There isn't a rule about this. But there's a tidy sense about many stories I read. In my own work, I tend to cover a lot of time and to jump back and forward in time. And sometimes the way I do this is not very straightforward. I've done a lot of revisions at that stage which turned out to be wrong because I wasn't really following the rhythm of the story. I saw a bit of writing that didn't seem to be doing as much work as it should have. And in the end, I'll fix it. But when I finally read the story again, it seemed to stick out a bit. Maybe I should say that memory interests me a great deal, because I think we all tell stories of our lives to ourselves as well as to other people. Well, women do, anyway. Women do this a lot. And I think when men get older, they do this too, but maybe in slightly different terms. I was a grade B housewife, maybe a B-. But when I got time to write, I would be unable to finish a sentence. I had anxiety attacks. Partly it was a way of personifying the situation because I couldn't breathe. I was surrounded by people and by duties. I was a housewife and the children's mother, and I was judged on how I performed those roles.